Alright, so y'all, here's the story time of why I had to do 11 years in prison.
Yes, I'm jaded. Most of the things I don't wanna say. I won't be around while you chase.
I'll start in February 2005. A trans girl that was my best friend at the time, she went by Foxy. She called me and saying that she had got a brand new car or something, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, for real? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna come by the house and see. She was like, my grandma got me and my sister, both new trucks for income tax time. I'm only 18. I'm still young. I don't know no better. I know it was around income tax time. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So she was like, I'm gonna come to your house. She came to my mom and dad's house. And bro, like we came out of the garage and I was looking at it. My mama said the truck was nice. I was looking at it and it had paper tags. Everything was brand new in this truck. This truck was brand new. It was new. Like it just got drove off the lot. Like it was new. And, so I was checking the truck out or whatever and I didn't think nothing of it. We partied, acted up. I'm talking about we clubbed everything in that truck from February. Everybody, like a lot of people that we was cool with. And so now I'm going to take you, that was February, right? Now we're going to go to to May. I just want y'all to just remember what I'm telling y'all about this in February. Okay. So in May 2005, it was Splash Weekend. If you from Houston or if you've been around for a while and you know how like big Splash was back in the day, Splash is like a really huge thing. It's Black Pride in Houston. It's nothing like that no more. You know, like hardly anybody go, but it was a big thing all over the goddamn US for Houston. So Splash Weekend, we was going to this event called the Boys Night Out at the Sheraton Hotel. And so if you know anything about Splash, they used to always have like like spots for where the boys go and spots for where like the lesbians go, right? And so basically I didn't have no car at the time. I rode with two friends of mine and we drove to the Sheraton together. But I'm gonna show y'all how God worked. I'm gonna tell you how God worked. On our way, all three of us that was in the car, on our way to the Sheraton Hotel, the 610 North exit or something like that where we were supposed to go, it was blocked off. There was a sign blinking saying it was blocked. You can't take that exit or to go that way. It was God. But we was, we had popped up some X pills and we was all like, shit, we trying to get to this spot. So, my friend at the time, he drove us all the way around the other side of Houston to get us to get us there. So we got there, everybody was like partying, mingling and, having a good time. And as we getting like towards like the end of the night, my friends that I rode with, they left early. You know what I'm saying? It's like 4 o'clock. I'm still, trying to be outside. And it was this dude that I had met, that we used to kick it like he's from New Orleans. And, so he had came down, and if you know anything about New Orleans back in the day, they used to have this club called Club Fusion that used to be like off the chain. It used to be like a spot that everybody used to like going to New Orleans. So that's what me and this dude had like met in, and we would like vibe all the time whenever he come to Houston or whatever. And so he came down and we was like kicking it and at the Sheraton event. And when I found out that my friends left, they called me and was like, we gone. We got home. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it's cool because I'm gonna get a ride with Foxy because I knew Foxy was coming. So Foxy and another trans homegirl of ours that is no longer with us. She's no longer with us anymore either. But both of them rode there together, you came over there together in that truck. I told Foxy, I went through the club, whatever, looking for Foxy and told her, hey, make sure y'all don't leave me because what's the name them left. And I told her I'm gonna just get a ride with y'all because I wasn't ready to go. And so Foxy, my best friend, is like, oh, okay, cool. That's cool. Cause we're not going, home early. We're going to Big Yo's after this. And if you know anything about Big Yo's used to be a really, really, really popular, gay spot in Houston back then. And, So I was like, cool. So by the time it's time for us to go, when we get in, we all get in the truck. So it's me, Foxy, the other trans homegirl of ours, Miss Joe, and it was this guy, this boy named Ronald that was from Louisiana. They used to always come. Him and his Louisiana peeps and shit. That we was all cool. We used to always come to Houston a lot when it was big stuff going on like that. So all of us is riding in this truck and on our way to Big Yo's. So we get to Big Yo's in the parking lot. Foxy like, hey, brother, I need to borrow $10. I'm like, what you need to borrow $10 for? She's like, cause I need to get in the club. They ain't gonna let me get in the club. I'm like, nah, bitch. I'm like, Big Yo, I'm not for the charges to get in here. It's already late. Like, it's for the clubs anyway. We just come to like, kind of like walk through. So we go into the club. Like I said, they ended up letting us in or whatever. Then Foxy came and was like, I still need $10. Come to find out she needed $10 because she wanted to buy a goddamn X pill. I ain't had no problem giving her that, but I said I'm not even fit to like play games with her because like a month prior to that, I had let her borrow $20 and she disappeared on me when she was supposed to go get change for 100 or something, and she left my apartment and she disappeared. I ain't hear back from her till like weeks later. Right. So when she asked to borrow that money, I'm like, all right, bitch, I'm gonna get this money, but you gonna pay my money back. She like, I'm gonna pay your money back tonight. We gonna go to the block when we leave here, and I'm gonna make your money back. Woo. So the block is the host stroll. Back then, like, and it still, I guess, is too, but Wood Fair was the host stroll. So I was like, okay, cool. So when we got done, at the club, whatever, everybody popped up in the truck that's riding with us. So it's like me, Foxy, the trans homegirl Joe, Ronald, and another trans homegirl of ours named D. So D got in like the back of like the truck, and I'm telling you, just like the weirdest shit. I can just always replay that was happening. And so as we pulling out of the parking lot of Big Yo's, D is in the back and she like, let me out, let me out. And we like, what the fuck wrong with she? Like, what? We going to the block. We could take out to the back. She like, nah, let me out, let me out. So Foxy stopped the truck and we let her out, and everybody like, what's going on? She was like, something ain't right. She was like, something ain't right. I ain't getting in that car. She left. We went to the block. When we get to the block, to Wood Fair, now it's all four of us, me and Ronald, Foxy, and Miss Joe, the two trans that's in there with us. Both of them get out as we pull up into these apartment complexes to park while they went to the little stroll right there. So both of them got out. I jumped in the driver's seat. Ronald was in the passenger seat talking to somebody on the phone or whatever. We was smoking and kind of like laughing and shooting shit. Then my mom called me out the blue and she was like, hey, where you at? You going to that splash stuff? I want somebody casino come meet me or whatever, so you can get some money. Now my mama, we was kind of like into it then because I think I was being real rebellious and disrespectful, and so we was bumping heads a lot. But she knew that like I would be going to splash and shit. So she was like, come meet us so she can give me some money, some extra money or something. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna go. I had to go get my house keys from my friends that I rode with, and then I was gonna come back and we're gonna get Foxy and them, and then we, can roll out. So I go get my house keys. Me and Ronna drive over there to them apartments and business from my home. My other friends get the house keys, come back. As we pull pulling back to the block, Foxy is calling my phone, and she like, where y'all at? Where y'all at? I was like, we on our way back right now to get my house keys. She like, I just clipped this man, and I got your money, and I got some extra money too. So come on, so I can get in the car. We gotta go. So I'm like, okay, cool. We was in the parking lot was like a narrow parking lot, right? So I see this police car that's sitting in there, but he's like pulled deeper into the back of that parking lot, and I see like the door open with his legs sticking out, and so I panicked because I had warrants for like truancy tickets for like skipping school, fighting in school, and when I was in high school and shit. And I knew that they had told me that I had to like either pay the $1,400 or come and sit it out in the county. So I'm like, shit, I don't want to go to jail. And I'm like, I go to fucking police. So Ronald was like, don't worry about it. He was like, just pull in, bag in. Once she jump in the truck, they get in the truck, then we just gonna pull out. So I was like, all right. So I pull in, back into the parking spot that was like closest to the street. And as soon as I pulled in and I bagged in, the police gets out of the car and this white police officer is walking towards the truck. So I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, he coming over here. Now, mind you, I had just popped like two. I was already on like two X pills. I had popped like two handlebars, and me and Ronald had been smoking in the truck. So I'm like, let these fucking windows down because he gonna smell the smoke. And so I let the windows down to try to let some of the smoke, the smell get out of there before he got close to the truck. He get up to the truck. He like license registration. And I'm hotter than motherfucker. I looked at him. I'm like, license registration. I'm like, I ain't got it. So he's like, license registration. You don't got your license. I'm like, nah, I don't. While he's saying it to me, Foxy jumps in the back seat, and she's beating on the back of the seat. And she's like, drive off, drive off. That's that white cop. He not gonna do nothing. Drive off. So I'm like, bitch, is you crazy? I'm like, looking towards back there. I'm like, bitch, it's motherfucking police. I'm like, bitch, I'm not gonna. I don't know. If, she like, please drive out. He not gonna do nothing. I promise, he not gonna do nothing. And the man heard us. So when I looked at him, he had his hand on like his gun holster. Like he had his hand like on his gun, and he's shaking his head. He say you don't want to do that. And I was buck wild back then. Like I didn't really give a damn about acting. Like I didn't give. I was a fool. So shit, when I didn't want to do that, but when he said that, like, you don't want to do that, I looked at that nigga, I was like, what? He was like, you don't want to do that. I was like, shit. So I put my shit in drive and I sped up out of that bitch. I'm thinking because where we was parked there, sped out of that bitch, bust a left. I'm like, okay, he gotta run back to his car and bag out because he was pulled in. I'm like, so I ought to be able to like smoke him. So I'm hit it. I bust a left. I'm a whoop. I bust a left, then I bust another quick left to take me to Club Creek. And so like they like runners sitting up, Foxy's on the front of the like right here in the middle, and it was kind of sort of just like set it off like when they did that like last run at seven. It was just three of us, and they was trying to talk me through, because I'm nervous. I'm mashing my foot in the gas. They like, you got it, go, do not stop, you got it, you got it. And so I'm like, okay, okay, okay. So Foxy is like looking in the back, you know what I'm saying? She like, he coming, he coming. So I bust when I'm on Club Creek, I bust another right on the feeder of Southwest Freeway. I go up under the loop and I get on the freeway on 59. And this motherfucker is on my ass. He's like on my ass. So they like, go, go. I'm like, I'm trying. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, we going fast in the motherfucker. I can't remember exactly where I took the exit, but I took an exit, and the exit that I took, I went through like this residential area where it's like some homes and shit. And as I'm flying through this residential area, bro, it's almost like some final destination type of shit. Like I literally watched this shit happen right before it happened. I see this fucking stop sign. These goddamn handlebars is kicking in while I'm trying to keep us running from this police and I'm getting drowsy and I see this stop sign and I'm telling them, I'm like, y'all, it's a stop sign. And I'm not gonna stop. And they was like, don't stop, just go. So as soon as we go through the stop sign, it's a car come. I hit the car, collided to this car. And all of the windows in the truck shattered. All of the airbags pop out. And it's like the hood pops up. It's like all of this smoke and all that you could like hear is like these loud, like two, like I guess both of the vehicles like, huh? And so I don't hear like Foxy in the back seat. Like ain't nobody saying nothing. So I'm like calling Foxy. She not saying nothing. I look over at Ronald and Ronald is like looking straight ahead. Like he's like looking straight, like he daydreaming or something. Like his eyes is not, he not blinking. And so he's like looking straight ahead, like, I'm like, Ronald. I'm like, Ronald, Ronald. It's like he looked up at me like that, and like his eyes rolled in the back of his head, and he fell like kind of forward and hit his head like on this dash thing. And he was making like these like sounds, and I was like, oh shit! And I had like blood coming from the other side of my head because I like felt I hit my head on this rear view. What's the name? Um, I tried to like climb over run. I tried to like climb over here, which was stupid, like because I felt like some blood like on my leg. My shit was hurt, so I'm trying to climb out the window over Ronald, and I see as I'm trying to climb out of the window, this glass that's like cutting me up and shit. So I'm like trying to like push myself out, and I see the police running towards me. That same police, and he's running towards me with his, and he's like, get on the ground, get your motherfucking ass on the ground now. So I'm like telling him, I'm like, please don't shoot. I'm like, please don't shoot. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. He's like, get on the ground, get on the ground. So he gets up on me. What's the name? And he snatches me out of the truck and threw me on the ground. He threw me on the ground, and I'm like, sir. I'm like, don't shoot, don't shoot. So he's like, shut the fuck up. He was like, you see that over there? He's like, that person is unalive. You know what I'm saying? DOA. Um, I, I, I was like, what? So I look over there and I see the vehicle, and I can see like, I guess where the truck hit them on their side, Robert's side, and I could see a body like with their head back. You know what I'm saying? Like he was no. So I blacked out. I guess I like fainted or something. I blacked out, passed out or something because when I woke up, all these paramedics that's like, like saying stuff to me, asking me what's my birthday, what's my name, do I know what today, all of this stuff, and I'm like my back pocket, because that's where my wallet was at. And I feel like this lady, she's like, he hurt his head, and she's like, it's his leg. It's a lot of blood. It's like a lot of blood was coming from like out of my knee. And so I guess like I'm trying to like see what happened. I'm like, what's going on? And I see like all of these news people around surrounding the whole scene, like every channel 2, 11, 13, like every news you could think of was surrounding us. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I see them like trying to, they had to cut Foxy from out of they had to cut her from out of the bottom of the truck. And she like something in her arm, like a bone or something that came out. They had to cut Foxy out of the bottom of the truck because something like a bone or something came out of her arm. Like she was, like it's like messed up. And so I remember them putting me on like the gurney, whatever thing or whatever, and they pushing me into ambulance, and I was like crying and stuff, and I was like calling for my mom. I was like, I want my mom. Where's my mom? I need my mom. And so they push Foxy in with me in the ambulance. And like I was crying, something really bad happened. I was like, I love you. That was my best friend at the time. I was like, I love you. I'm gonna probably be gone for a long time. And she was like crying. She was like, I love you too. My arms, something. And I guess like the police or whatever, they didn't want us talking to each other with. So they told them like, no, to get one of them out of there. And so they pulled her out. And so it was like this really older black lady that like I was crying and stuff, and she was like, how old are you? And I was like, I was like, I'm 18, and she was like shaking her head, like she was like, you're so young. I don't even think you understand what has happened. And I was like, what happened? And she's like, somebody didn't make it. And so I was like, what? And I blacked out again. I guess I passed out again. When I came back to, they cutting me like I'm in the hospital bed, and it's like all of these people in the hospital, these doctors, whatever you call them, they was cutting my jeans and everything me out of the shit. And there's all because it's all this blood. They was trying to see, I guess, what this blood was just gushing from. And so like it's a lady, it's a black lady. She's walked up to me. She said, either you pee in this cup, or I'm gonna have to stick something up your like my shit to get a urine sample from me. And I was like, I can pee, and so I peed, and she looked at me, I guess she looked at my urine and she was like, "Are you on?" She like, Are you on drugs?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And she just was like, and she walked off. And so next thing I know, there's these lights, like it's like these bright lights that are like coming in, like towards my bed, towards me, while they got all of this stuff hooked up to me, and I'm crying, and I'm like, I see all of these big bright lights, and I guess it was like news reporters or whatever you call them, and I was like trying to block my face. I'm like, no, I was crying. I'm like, please go away. I'm like, my mom, I want my mom. Like, please go away. Um, and so, and so there was there was like, I guess you can say like, kind of I'm trying to thought. Hold on. So there's like, one of the doctors or whatever, I guess they were saying like my knee, something happened with my knee, like something happened, dislocated, and something happened, and the only way that they could fix fix it was, they had to put some joint fluid into my knee, like to, I guess, to get it to fix, because I was messed up, and so that's why now my left knee, I can't, like, I had a scar, but I can't feel. I ain't got no feeling in my left knee. So um after that, there's these detective looking people that's walking in. And I knew they had to be somebody important. I didn't know, like, they had on like these black trench coat looking things, and they had their badges and shit. But they walk, I'm thinking that it's just me in this room. And there's a curtain on this side of me. And so they walk in and they walk straight to my bed, and I hear them call Foxy's full name. And that's who she was, and she said yes. And I heard them say, "Are you aware that the vehicle that y'all were just involved in this accident in was stolen at gunpoint?" And she said, "Nope." And I said, "What?" They said, "You didn't know?" That she said, "No." They said, "Whose truck was it? Who had the truck?" And she said my full name. "Are you sure?" She said, "Yes." She just kept saying my full name. I tried to jump out of that bed, get to this hole, and I realized I was handcuffed. My left arm was handcuffed to the bed. I snatched that fucking curtain. I'm like, "Bitch, don't do me like that." I'm like, "Bitch, stop lying, ho. You know motherfucking where that was your motherfucking truck." I'm like, why are you gonna do me like that? I'm like, I'm gonna ride my heat, ride your heat, bitch. That wasn't my truck. She wouldn't look at me. She just looked at them and she shook her head. She kept saying it was my first and last name. It was me. She just kept saying it. I was like, "I'm gonna get you, bitch." So I'm trying to tell them, like, I'm trying to plead with these motherfuckers. I'm like, "Please listen to me, please listen. That was not my truck. That was her truck. That wasn't my truck. I was just driving." I'm like, I jumped in the driver's seat, but they weren't trying to hit nothing I said. They just left. So next they pulled her out for some surgery, like she had to have surgery. And I couldn't understand, like, all of that was just fucked up. Like, somebody didn't make it because of my stupidity. You know what I'm saying? Stupid actions. hanging with the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? Then I wasn't raised like that. I was out like I value friendships and stuff like that. So I never imagined that. Like I never thought that something like a friend would do. I was young. I was innocent. I in my mind I was immature. I didn't understand like that friends would actually do stuff like that. I didn't. And so I was just devastated after they finished putting bandaging me up. They came and got me later on that night and was like, "Come on, we got to transport you." They had to transport me to the county. I get in the county. I was limping, of course, because they just had put the joint fluid in my knee, and they said it would take a couple of weeks for I'll be able to for it'll set, and I'll be able to walk like again like the right way. So I was limping in, and as I got in there for booking, because I guess this stuff had been it was all over the news. Um, all of the cops was just like pointing at me like when I came in. They was like, "Yeah, that's that dumb mother effing punk that uh you know unalived such and such the person," and they were just talking to me crazy. It was mad fucked up, but I did something fucked up. Um, matters it was accident. I did something fucked up, so they treated me like pure shit, and they got me booked and put me in, you know, wherever I was on the sixth floor. Let me tell you something. I was supposed to be charged with like first degree, um, like unalive, like the highest level, which could have been anywhere from 5 to 99 to like a life sentence, right? But I'm gonna tell you something. Back then, the black gay community was really something different, because the only way that they could have got my time lessened was to get affidavits signed. I was supposed to get, originally charged for like first degree. Um, y'all know what I'm talking about. And like I said, the gay community back then it was really a lot of love. Everybody like loved on each other a lot. And so everybody knew what had happened. It was all over the news and shit. And they was basically saying like the only way to help my case, to prove that like that I wasn't in this truck or this wasn't my truck. So we had to get some affidavits signed, and so that's what ended up happening. Um, um, my mom got a lot of affidavits. A lot of the guys in the community wrote written statements on my behalf, and picked I think they all like my one of my closest friends had rallied and got all of the letters from everybody, and my mom met at their house, and she went and got all of the stack of letters on my behalf, to turn into my attorney for my case, and that's how my case was dropped down to a second degree evading arrest, causing it. And so after that, um, like everybody was kind of like sending word in there saying they was gonna jump Foxy and talking about how they was gonna clown her for what she did, how she played me, because everybody had already heard and got word that she basically, what she did, and that's why they had to write them statements saying, that it was her shit. And so I went to the county, I went through booking and all of that, and I just ended up staying upstairs. I stayed upstairs on the sixth floor for like a month, and then they moved me to lockup on the second floor. I was in and I was in a cell for 7 months. No daylight, no nighttime. For 7 months, I was in this cell for 23 hours a day. I came out. I was able to come out one time. I was able to come out for 1 hour a day, and that would be like to go shower. And sometimes, like we'll sit at the people that was in that too, and we would all sit at the door and like each other door at the bean shoot or whatever and chop it up. But I didn't see no daylight, no sunlight. I was tired. I was exhausted. I was just like ready to get it over with. I knew we was gonna try to shoot for me to get 10 years probation, but I think it's like we kind of knew that, like, because we were shooting for 10 years probation because I hadn't had any priors. Like I had like them truancy, but I hadn't had no like felonies or nothing like that on my record. So that's why they was saying, thinking like it would be a possibility that I can get the 10 years of probation. I tried to fight my case. I want to say like a couple of months. I was like trying to see what they was trying to give me. So my attorney, I had a court appointed. I was, like told my mom and dad and them like I didn't want them to try to like having to get all this money because they was already saying it. Like lawyers were basically saying that because my case was like a highly publicized case and like the mayor had spoke up about it and said he was going to see to it that it was nipped in the bud. Like it was just going to be a whole lot of money that nobody had to like pay for some stupid shit I did. Yeah. So basically, I decided that I wanted to do a trial by judge. Told my mom, we talked about it and we just agreed to let's just go ahead and do it. So I did the trial by judge, and my trial date was set for November the 1st, 2005. And so, and during the trial, I remember coming in, once everybody was already, I guess, seated in the courtroom and they had them to bring me out and Cousin set me next to my lawyer, my attorney. And I remember saying, like all my family on like the first 2, 3 rows. My aunt took the stand first, and the prosecutor was trying to like be a bitch, saying like, "Are you aware that your nephew was in a high rated prostitution area where this crime was committed with a wool?" She was doing a lot. Then my brother took the stand, and she's like, "You live way in Dallas. Why should we think about considering probation when you like? How are you going to help him? And you're way in Dallas?" And he's like, my brother's like, "Well, if I have to relocate to Houston for my brother, then I will do so." And so they questioned him a little more. Then my mom was last to go up on the stand for on my side. And anybody that know me to know, anybody that knows me know that I'm a mama's boy. I've always been a mama's boy. I've always been spoiled. I didn't stop sleeping with my mom and my dad till I was 11. And my dad was the one that made my mama finally make me get out the bed. But anybody that knows me and like, I'm always glued to my mom. And it's hard for me to cry, but my mom could be crying and I will break down and I won't know why. But that's how an effect that when it comes to my mom. So when my mom took the stand, she just broke down crying immediately. And I remember I was just crying. And man, we just got through the trial after they finished hearing both sides and the prosecutor doing everything she could to make sure they smoked me. The judge, he actually was like, after like hearing like both, like he could tell that this was an accident, but I still had to be held accountable, because after, he was like, kind of like this, like, you know, and he said, "Stand up, Mr. Jones." And so I stood up and, like everybody pretty much, you could see everybody feel everybody sitting up on their seats. And I stood up with my attorney, and that's why he was like, call my first and last name. He said, "I sentence you to 12 years, Department of Criminal Justice."